Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I heard some questions recently regarding audiobook rates and what a PFH was. If you're interested in knowing about what a PFH is or what to charge for audiobook narration or production, then stick around. We'll talk about that today. I've seen some questions lately about what to charge for producing an audiobook. Now, what you must understand to start with is that you can charge whatever you want. If it's a small book, a medium-sized book, 50,000 words, and if it's a large book around, closer to 100,000, for me, they're all gonna have different rates. And it's the rate that you charge is also gonna be dependent upon whether they are paying you upfront, outright, per finished hour, or if it's something that you find on, say, ACX that will offer you royalty share only or royalty share plus. Now, there is an industry standard rate for audiobook production, and that is $250 per finished hour. But keep in mind, a per finished hour or a finished hour is not an actual hour. A finished hour is all of your time of narration, all of your editing time, all of your mastering time, all of your splitting of files and adding that time to the head and tail of each file. That is everything that you do for that completed, edited, mastered, finished hour of audiobook work. So that finished hour could in reality be, you know, maybe couple hours of narration if you make a lot of mistakes or if you have long pauses. That finished hour could be not only the narration time, but then editing time. And depending on how fast you are with editing, how good you are, how quick you are at getting your editing done and what kind of chains of processing you have, that could be an additional hour to 3 hours, depending on how fast you are. And then there's the mastering to consider. There is adding on the half a second to a second of time of room tone at the head, and then the 1 second to 5 seconds of room tone at the tail. And then, of course, mastering the file to meet all of ACX's standards. So a finished hour could in reality be 3 to 6 hours, depending on how fast you are. So I wanted to show you something in case you don't already know. There is a website. Let me show you my screen. Okay, this is the website for the Global Voice Acting Academy. They have a rate guide on here, which I have used and is I think a lot of voice actors still do use this as kind of the benchmark for how to charge for different types of voiceover. Now, mind you, this is probably created by pros a long, long time ago and more than likely continuously updated. But you do you in the end. You charge what you feel is right, but don't undervalue yourself. Charge for what you're worth. But if you feel that some of these prices are too high, that's fine. Charge what you want. The industry standard for a finished hour of audiobook narration is about $250 per finished hour, and that is roughly about 10,000 words. I think in reality it's more like 9,500, but I've always used 10,000 words just to make it easy to help your clients um, get a quote and for you to calculate word count. So I charge $250 per finished hour of 10,000 words, and that is what I set my benchmark at. But that's not what I always charged. I started out in the very, very beginning, as I've said before in a few other videos, that I started out on LibriVox to get myself into the habit of, speaking into the mic, getting the width right or the distance from your mouth right, to editing, to formatting. I used that as kind of my jumping point. I started on LibriVox and donated my time just to get the hang of it. And then I went on to ACX and found mostly royalty share books. Now, royalty share books are the ones where you get a 20% cut of whatever royalties that audiobook makes from ACX. Now, if the book is a smaller one, you can anticipate seeing a very small royalty from each book. However, if you narrate a lot of these small books and they sell fairly well, that's still a pretty decent income month after month for the 7 years that that book is posted on ACX. Royalty Share Plus is an opportunity for you to not only make royalties on that book, but the share part is they also pay you a per finished hour upfront. That is typically not going to be the industry standard rate unless you want to try that. More than often than not, I would go for the Royalty Share Plus if it's about $100 per finished hour. And those are still on the shorter side of books, maybe 40,000 words or less. If it's a really great selling book, maybe even 50,000. But that gets you a cut of the royalty share plus some upfront money as well. And then there's just straight, per finished hour. Back to GVAA, this website and their rate guide is a great tool to use if you just want an idea of what to charge and reading through the notes, the explanation for each of these charges is really beneficial. It gives you a great sense of why you're charging what you charge or what they suggest that you charge, because there are a lot of things that I personally didn't think of in the very beginning with usage and, commercial rights and all of that stuff. So, in addition to audiobooks, they have, IVR, they have cinema, studio fees, just straight studio fees if you have to use if you have to go rent studio space in order to record if you don't have a home studio, that is something to consider because that would come out of your pocket and you need to make sure you include that into your fee. But, just a few other things here. Video games, that's another great one. Animation and dubbing. E-learning is a big one for me. I do a lot of e-learning, non-broadcast, and then, of course, I believe there's also broadcast or web usage. But back to audiobooks. Let's go. There's audiobook. Here it is. Okay, so the union scale, and that is the SAG-AFTRA union, which I am not. I am non-union. But the union scale, they're suggesting anywhere from 195 to 235 per finished hour. That is just, you know, what they're suggesting is no editing, no anything. That's just straight narration. And I personally, I don't really know anybody who does that. All of my colleagues narrate, edit, master their own audiobooks. From start to finish, it's their baby. But, you could hire an editor, and if you just narrate and then pass off the files to someone else to edit and master, which I also offer the service of on Fiverr, then you have to consider that fee as well because it's usually, anywhere from 40 to 150 plus per finished hour or even raw audio. So you have to consider that as well. But they also added a category for ACX Audible, and they're saying that their top tier rate is $237.50 per finished hour. I stick with 250. It's a good clean number. It's easy to work with. It's easy to quote. 250 an hour, 10,000 words. But so I suggest to go to this website, check out this rate guide. It's been really helpful for me. Take everything that they're saying into consideration, um, and come up with your own pricing for not only audiobooks, but for, everything else that you offer. But I wanted to explain in this video what a per finished hour was and what I charge for them. I didn't tell you in the very beginning, when I first started narrating audiobooks, and I started out at like 50, then 100, and then 150. And then once I really started to get going, I got up to about 60 or so audiobooks. I went to 250 an hour because after 60 plus audiobooks that I've done, I'm pretty well versed in not only ACX, but I have a firm grasp on my editing ability and formatting, and I have all of that stuff easily programmed into chains. Excuse me. So this video, again, I just wanted to touch on what a per finished hour was, what it entails, and how much to charge for it. And please go check out this website, globalvoiceacademy.com, and their rate guide. It's awesome. Just read through it, take some notes, and come up with your own price guide. It's definitely beneficial. Save it and put it on your desktop. So when clients ask you what you charge for XYZ, you can, come up with your pricing very quickly. And that brings us to the end of this video on audiobook pricing. If you have any other questions or comments for me, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. As always, I love hearing from you guys. Please give me a like, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.